I have opening remarks, but they're on my phone. It doesn't. Just turn it back on. Okay. Hello. Welcome to the Will Wakeford experience. My name is Will Wakeford. And before I say anything else, I'd like to quickly explain who we are and how we came to be here. I also have to say for the record that I did not originally spring to the idea of the name being the Will Wakeford experience, but like with many other things over the course of this summer, the group's persistence was impressive. Now, I know that those of you in the ensemble who have been getting my emails won't believe me when I say this, but I will keep this next part brief. A few months ago, on June 9th, 2021, about 12 of us gathered beneath an outdoor shelter at River Park, and we discussed starting up a summer wind ensemble. At that time, we didn't have a venue to practice our music yet, we didn't know what music we were going to play, and we didn't know how many people we were going to have participating. And now, with a 23-student ensemble, 13 rehearsals later, including July 5th, a day that was during a holiday weekend that everyone insisted we practice anyway, here we are, putting on a concert. I hope, as we play this music, that you all enjoy it as much as we have. Now, I'd just like to introduce the great musician and person that's been working with us a lot over these last 2 months, Mr. Tony Granados.
As we go through the experience here, by the way, if you want to get a band, start a band, you can name it whatever you want. So, that's great. I'll talk a little bit about thoughts that I have while they change music and the brass players get blood flow back to their lips. But the next thing we're going to play is the Gallant 7, John Philip Sousa. No band concert can be ever performed without a march, in my opinion. Marches are the essence of what makes bands bands. And the Gallant 7th is one of John Philip Sousa's greatest marches. It was written in 1922 for Francis Sutherland, who was a former member and pupil of John Philip Sousa. He played cornet in the Sousa band, and he left the band to direct and to join the service for World War I. He never returned to the band, but was offered the position of the leader of the 7th Regiment of the 107th New York National Guard. And he was the director of the band there. And he commissioned John Philip Sousa to write this march for him. Now, the thing that's unique about this march is that it has 2 dogfights in it. No other Sousa march has 2 dogfights. Now, what's a dogfight, you might ask? Okay, now marches are all about form, okay? You have an introduction, you have an A section, you have a B section. Usually the A and B sections are repeated. Then you have a dogfight, or you have a trio section, and in between the A section of the trio and the B section of the trio, you have a dogfight. Well, this one has 2 of them, okay? So it's all the more fun, okay? And a dogfight is just a big raucous section that splits up the form in the middle of a march. You'll recognize it when you see it or when you hear it. So here's the Gallant 7. So something that's very unique about this program, I didn't select any of the music. It's unique to me because when I program something, I program the entire concert. I direct the Triangle Brass Band, and I do everything for programming the concert. They did all the programming, okay? So they just said, here, Tony, this is what we want you to do. And I was like, oh. So what that tells you is that these kids are ambitious. Because they got together, and they didn't care who was conducting, they didn't care whether they had all the parts, they just knew that some of them wanted to play, and some of them was like, we're going to make this happen. And they did it during a pandemic. I had struggles putting a band that's been around for 36 years together to do a concert and to rehearse, and these guys did it just because they wanted to. And to me, and when they asked me to hey, can you stick the band? And I was like, what band? What? Somebody's playing in a band? And they're like, and they told me what it was, and I said, yeah, I'm in. Because this is something that I thought was extremely cool. That kid musicians who, well, I say kids, but they're kids to me, I guess, just want to play, and there's no opportunities for them to do it. And they knew each other, and they were able to produce the contacts and figure this all out. So I was in. But I didn't get to select anything, which I was fine with too, because I'm on summer break, and I didn't want to think about anything. So one of the pieces that they picked was October. Now, October is a staple of the concert band repertoire. It's written by Whitacre, who is a choral composer, but has written many, many band works that have made it to the top and most favorite of everybody that plays in a band's repertoire. October is about the month of October. Eric Whitacre says it's his favorite month. And this is a very lyrical and reflective piece that's very pretty. It does sound like October if you kind of think about it. So, when we play it, just think about, it's not 98 degrees out. It's the fall, the leaves are changing colors, and it's cool. And it's not going to be so hot. But here's Eric Whitacre's October. It's funny how small the world is. The person that asked me to do this was Dion Sylvester, who's there. She's way back there, she's hiding. Now, her son is Hayden, who's there, who is a student of mine, who I've been teaching since he was
7th grade.
this time. Because he could barely speak, apparently. In the 7th grade, he never would have said that. So I was like, well, she told me all about it. I was like, okay. And then I found out who was putting together Will Wakeford, who actually is the younger brother of that Wakeford, who was in the cornet section of the Triangle Youth Brass Band the last year that I conducted it in 2013. 2013. He was a little freshman then. And I was like, wow, I know somebody. That's cool. So that was the bridge you into what I used to do is conduct the Triangle Youth Brass Band. I did it for 13 years. So I am very familiar with the enthusiasm of youth when it comes to making music, which you just had on full display right there. They play very passionately, and that's something that the youth do, that kids do, that a lot of adults really just don't have anymore. As you get older, it gets more technical and it gets less fun. It's still fun, but it doesn't have the type of enthusiasm and passion that you get. So conducting youth groups, younger players, is something that I haven't done in a long time, and it's obvious that it hasn't changed any. The next piece we're going to play is a piece that they picked to play. It's Danzon number 2, and it's a youthful, fun piece. I don't know much about it because this piece came out long after I stopped doing band, went into the orchestral world. So I don't know it very well, but they know it really well, and they're going to play it, and I'm going to follow along with it, and they're just going to have fun. See, that was fun, wasn't it? that was all them. I just wanted to ride. The next piece we're going to play is called Redwood. Powerful tranquility is what Ryan George describes it as. And the redwood, of course, the redwood sequoias in California. I don't know anything else about that. This was also written after my time in band. However, the composer is a classmate of mine from the University of Kentucky, so there's that interesting little thing there. Uh-oh. Are we having some prayers? You okay?
I forgot to take my iron phone again, so
Do that. You gotta take care of the players. This piece will sound exactly like you expect it to. It's another lyrical piece, but it has, great flowing melodies, featured soloists, and big bombastic playing as well. I'm just about done talking, so. Okay. I thought a little bit about what I would talk about this, and I wasn't 100% sure exactly what this program was going to take, what this concert was going to take on. So I was thinking, like, well, is it a concert? Is it what kind of performance is it? I was thinking of it more like a lab, okay? Where it's, because all the rehearsals were labs. They had different people in to work with them, different personnel groupings when they were working, and they were just playing. So it was a lab, kind of an experiment to see how it would go. When we got to rehearsal yesterday, there were a couple of holes of players. So I wanted to introduce some people who weren't in your program, but I just started texting people, saying, hey, can you play tomorrow? Can you play tomorrow? And it helps to be a brass player that has access to a lot of brass players. So we have Whitney Beaver sitting in on horn. Whitney actually taught that one how to play the horn. It's a small world. We got Sammer back there on trombone. We have Jay on trombone. And Mac on tuba. I wasn't able to find any more trumpet players, so we got these 5 guys and that's it. So, they're bowling through it. There's a couple parts missing for trumpet, which you haven't missed yet, have you? No? They haven't missed anything. You guys are covering it great. All right, so the next piece we're going to play is the biggest and most ambitious thing that they chose to play. Martin Ellerby's Pere Sketches. Now, there will be parts missing on this. How many of you know the piece? A couple of you. All right, well, you'll know. You'll recognize there's some stuff, especially there's a lot of percussion. I think there's timpani and 3 or 4 percussion parts that they're going to do their best to cover as much with, but there will be no timpani. There's some very prominent parts in that will just have to, this is the lab part of this. But the experience of playing great music can never be substituted, even though you have a few parts missing. Martin Ellerby is a English or British composer. He writes for the wind band medium and mostly for brass bands, British-style brass bands. And Pere Sketches is probably his most popular work. It's the one that most band people or band students will recognize. Although that I've played a lot of his other works, because I direct a brass band and play a lot of his other stuff. I actually commissioned Martin Ellerby to write a piece for the Triangle Brass Band, and he's come over here and worked with us. He did a commission with the Green Hope High School Band and came over and worked with them about 10 or 12 years ago or so. So we've got a relationship with him, and they think Martin Ellerby's people. I was like, oh, that's great, I know him. I actually saw him in England in September of 2019. He came and had lunch with me at the British Open. I was over there, doing the band geek thing and watching the British Open brass band competition, which is 20 of the best bands you'll ever hear in the world playing the exact same piece back to back all day long. It's insanity. It's pure insanity. And only a nerd like me would go and do something like that and spend, fly all the way to England, then a train all the way to Birmingham to do it. But it was awesome because it was the absolute best stuff you'll ever get to hear. Best band quality you'll ever hear. So this is in 4 works. It's called Pere Sketches because it's about Paris. It sounds very French, which if it does, then they did a good job of interpreting this. The through line through this is that each movement is based off of a composer. The first movement is kind of Ravel-esque. The second movement, what's the second movement? What does it sound like? Stravinsky or Prokofiev? They didn't get that one. The third movement? This one's an easy one. No. Let's try it.
Satie?
Gymnopédie. And the last movement? Brilliant. This says, I like concept of damage to the internet.
Oh, yeah.
That was the big giveaway right there. Right, so they're still learning. The learning continues. For you'll see what Martin Ellerby is an absolute master of, and that's orchestration or colors. He brings out a very unique and very cool color palette for all the pieces in here. So we're gonna plug through a very, very difficult wind score that these kids are pulling off very wonderfully of Pere Sketches. It's okay to clap between movements. It's okay. We're not that highbrow here. Good luck, guys. That's for me.
So we have another one there. Can I see somebody's program? Thanks. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. So before we do this last piece, I want to just take a second and thank some very important people. Like I mentioned earlier, it takes a lot to do a band like this. It takes a lot of supplies. It takes a lot of energy from a lot of people, and there have been a lot of very, very helpful people. First of all, I want to thank, we couldn't do this without a venue. I mentioned earlier we didn't have a venue at the time that we did this interest meeting, and just out of nowhere one day, very graciously, the Sublets, a friend of the Athens Drive band and chorus, they just stepped up and said, we have an outdoor space, you guys can rehearse all summer. And that was honestly, when I heard that, I nearly cried. Because believe me, I'd gone through, I tried to figure out rental things for outdoors, and you had to book everything 3 months in advance, and there was all this stuff. And I was starting to lose a little bit of hope that this would happen, and then the Sublets jumped in, and they really saved us. So thank you to the Sublets, John Sublets. Thanks. I will also say, I'm not sure if he's here right now, but Doc was instrumental, no pun intended, in making this work. I came and I told him what I wanted to do, and he was just right off the bat, like, yeah, what do I need to, what can I help with? And he And you know, summer for marching band is a big time, and he still put in time to make sure that he was giving us the tools that we needed. He let us borrow the music. He let us use stands and chairs, and he helped a lot. Moral support too. And so I just wanted to take a second too and say that thank you to Doc. He's not here right now, but thank you in spirit. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I was going to mention the Ringers. Thank you to them. Thank you for coming in on short notice and helping us with that. I also have. Sorry, I'm going to have to come over here for a second. We have something else. Here, I'll actually also go ahead and thank. Sorry. This is why I need to write everything down, is because I also would like to thank our directors, because Brian Holzhauser is not here right now. He went back up to Texas. He's working in Texas right now, and he's getting his master's in music education. But he also was very quick to jump on this when we asked him about it. He really clicked with the kids, and he was a fantastic teacher. And I think I hope he had fun with it. We had fun talking to him and hanging around him. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Granados again, because he came in ready to go, and I love that, because you know there was some reading at the beginning and everything, but then once we got those professional musicians and directors in, it was a big help to sort of just like work up these pieces and feel very confident about them. So thank you to Mr. Granados. I have one more that was kind of a surprise. It's hard to keep it a surprise because there are two people who were at every rehearsal and sat there the whole time and helped clean up and helped set up, and they are my parents. They are wonderful, wonderful people, and they're very hard workers. And really, and the second I said, hey, I think I want to do this thing, they were like, that sounds good. What can we do to help? And it seems like a motif, right? These people, it's just been amazing, and I could not ask for a better duo.
And then, well, can you stay up here with me?
Will's going to thank every person except himself. The person for which this ensemble is named, not by his choice. When he first mentioned this to me, I was very excited about the concept, a little concerned about it in practicality. But I've been so amazed by the leadership you've taken with this ensemble. It has been one of the joys of each and every one of our summer. And it truly speaks to the person you are, how passionate you are about music, life, and how kind you are to have all these people at your disposal to say, hey, let's do something together in the summer, and have all of us be like, okay, let's do it. So we could not be more thankful. So we have a card for you. These are a bouquet of irises handcuffed by my mother. And there's also a tissue tumbler inside as well. So please enjoy, be careful, there's water in there. We're so thankful. I could go on for hours, but I'll spare you the time. So.
And I'll save you the tears that I might cry if I keep talking. So for our final piece,
I just want to thank Reverend Brookhouse. I don't know if he's in here right now. He's stepping in now, but he is the pastor of this church, and he, at the very last minute, allowed us to have this concert here. So I really appreciate
venues is very difficult these days. As it stands right now, the Triangle Brass Band still doesn't have a place to start rehearsals when we start up in August. So that's my project for the next couple of weeks, is that where can we get a place to go? There are worse things that kids could do over the summer, for sure. But so starting up a band, this is how things get started. This could be something that could last. Could come together next summer, the summer after that, and the summer after that. The next thing you know, you have a band. So I'm humbled by what these students have done. I'm humbled by and so appreciative of their skills and talents, because they are so good. They are so good for their age. I haven't done anything. They really have rehearsed this themselves, put it together, made all this stuff work, and it's been fun to come a couple of times and just make music with them. It's a time when music hasn't been made very much in the last year and a half, and the fact that this is happening is just, to somebody like me who is a professional musician, it's so good to see. So I'm the one that's grateful for what you guys have done here. This is fantastic. I love making music with you guys. It's so much fun to stand in front of you. So I hope we do it again next summer. Will? There's a lot of work putting a band together, isn't it? He didn't even know what he doesn't know. And now he knows a lot about what he doesn't know. So it's insane. So the last piece we're going to play is Elsa's Procession to the Cathedral, which is from the opera Lohengrin. And it's a band transcription of an opera, which, if you would have go back 120 years or so, this is how the masses would have heard this music, because most people didn't have access to opera, okay? Especially if you lived in the United States. You would have heard, this would have been presented to audiences far more frequently, so far more people would have gone to see a Sousa band concert or a Marine band concert or a town band concert that would have played music like this, and they would have heard the classics like Beethoven and Wagner and Tchaikovsky by a concert band, because this is the way that music went. Concert bands were the rock bands of their day 120 years ago. So, so this is the way it's done. So bands have been playing transcriptions for years and years and years, and this is one of the most popular, and you'll see why when we play this. So thank you all for coming and supporting these kids, and we're going to end it with the raucous and beautiful Elsa's Procession to the Cathedral. And yeah, she's processing to go to Mary. So imagine how long this walk is.
Encore, we did forget a couple of thank yous. Hayden's mom, Dion Sylvester, helped find this place when we weren't sure if we were going to be able to have a concert. And the kids said all the way through the summer, you know, why are we doing this? Is it just to play for each other? And they said we really want to perform because they missed us. And so they then asked a week ago when we thought we weren't going to be able to find anyone to do this, who still wants to do a concert? Every hand went up. So she found the place and made it happen. We really appreciate that. And our videographer here is one of our dads from the band. We're Brian, who Will mentioned earlier, was the other conductor that we had for the bulk of the summer, and had to go back to Texas. He really did enjoy it, and he, when he left, he was like, "Are you guys going to video this? Because I really want to hear the performance." And so we were talking about who we could find, and Patty stepped up and said, "Hey, my dad does that. I bet you do it." So he's going to post it on YouTube, I think. So,
Yeah.
so thank you to him.
So they wanted to play one more as an encore. It is probably something they would recognize. How to Train a Dragon? If you don't know it, you're going to find out in a second. So How to Train a Dragon. And thank you all so much. It's been a real pleasure to perform for you today. I know they enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. So thank you for being attentive and listening.
You're still here? The concert's over. Go home. We're gonna do it next year.